I didn't change the trajectory of my life by trying new tactics. I changed it by altering my beliefs. And beliefs are so important because they decide how you see the world, how you perceive stimuli, how you go about your existence. And that translates to what you tolerate, what you attempt, and what you avoid. And they are developed when you're younger. I think around 7, right? By the time you're 7, your beliefs are pretty much set in stone. And you just see the world as, that's how it is. So this isn't advice from someone who's made it or someone who's mastered mindset, right? This is experience. This is actually what I did not too long ago, just a couple years ago, and how it's changed everything for me. So here are my limiting beliefs I had when I was younger, how they show up, how I cracked them, and how I've changed them. Limiting belief number 1, they were just born that way. I'm not talking just born rich. I mean born disciplined, born confident, born good at football, born athletic. They were just born like that. And that had a cost. Because the moment I started anything and I hit slow progress, I would mentally check out. And it would almost be evidence to myself that, see, I told myself I'm just not like that. I'm not built that way. I'd compare my chapter 1 to their chapter 20. And how I cracked that was almost documentaries, biographies, particularly Ronaldo. Ronaldo's work ethic was insane. And people see the trophies, they see the arrogance. They don't see his routine. His whole life is dedicated to football. Every minute is spent doing that. I must have been in uni and I was learning advanced aerodynamics. And there were some people in my class who were really good, really smart. And I realized, I'm like, surely this isn't like maths or spellings. This is aerodynamics. And I'm pretty sure they did not come out the womb A star at aerodynamics, right? There was work behind it. I went to one of theirs, a comm, after a lecture. And when I got there, all I saw was books everywhere. There was work they were doing previously. There was equations and bits and bobs over the walls, splattered everywhere in post-it notes. And I said, okay, I understand it now. You just notice the flower that blossoms. You don't see the seed that was planted and the inside, the sapling breaking through the shell of the seed, working its way up the soil, fighting gravity and other plants' competition for the sunlight, and then it eventually blossoms. We don't see the work. We don't see the evidence. We don't see the reps. And how I applied it to myself was futsal. I don't play futsal anymore because of my knee. But futsal was so important because it showed me that the reps matter. My friends around me played football their whole life, right? And when we came into uni and we were introduced to futsal, I loved it. I wasn't any good at it, but I loved it. So much so that I trained. Before I trained, I was the bottom of the barrel. I'm a goalkeeper, right? And you can only have one on the team. So I barely got minutes and I trained. I was the first to show up, the last to leave, continued in my room, was training for hours. And eventually I worked my way up and I got called up to play for a team who are one of the best futsal clubs in the UK, the Premier League of futsal. The boring work compounds. And that compounding is invisible until it isn't. When I started LinkedIn, I was posting. And my post didn't get as much engagement as the big dogs did, right? And I was angry. I was like, why is it, what happened to me? Right? Cool. I said, you know what? Let's just keep going, right? This belief fueled that journey because I was going to quit. Then I realized, okay, it's reps, Ian. It's reps. That's their chapter 20. It's my chapter 1, all right? You don't expect to be viral on your first couple posts. So I was posting 6 months in, right? I get this software, and this software allows you to see how many posts everyone has done on LinkedIn. So there was a guy I was comparing myself to a lot. I saw how many times they posted, and I saw how many times I posted. I was like, they've thousands of posts. I've only done around 80 at the time, 80, 90. They're thousands in. They weren't just born good at LinkedIn. They have the evidence, and evidence cannot be argued with. So when I start something new now, I don't judge myself on my first attempt. I keep going. I track the progress. I care more about the progress, the quantity, than the quality. When I start something new, like take YouTube for example, I care more about how many videos I'm doing than the views. Because I expect in a year's time, I look back on my first couple videos and say, wow, these are shit. And they should be. Compared to how I am in a year in. Why? Because that's how progress works. Belief number 2, academia is the only route to success and I need to know everything. This one messed me up because I think success was from accreditation, certificates, accolades, and I needed to know everything. But that's not the case. Academia teaches you for completeness and correctness, whereas business rewards speed, iteration, and accuracy over time. There's a well-known phrase in business that goes, I'd rather be directionally correct than absolutely correct, because you can only be absolutely correct with hindsight. And that's impossible unless you've already done the thing, you've already made the decision, you've already seen the outcome. When I was wrong, I'd see that as failure. So I would try to learn everything. And that meant I spread myself out thin and I was pretty average at everything. And that's how it showed up. I became pretty average at everything. I was quite knowledgeable. I consumed a lot. It felt productive, but nothing happened. I would have decision paralysis, right? Scared to make a decision because I just trying to learn everything. I would have analysis paralysis, where you're just stuck in learning mode and nothing actually gets done. And decisions would take me a long time to make. What cracked it for me is I realized in the real world, you don't get a grade for knowing. You get paid by doing and correcting a mistake. I don't need all the answers. I just need enough to make the next step, to take action. So I replaced those beliefs. I don't need the knowledge of everything. I don't need the knowledge just in case. I need just enough so that I can make the decision and move forward. Because the execution teaches faster than any theory book you could ever get. So whenever I am faced with a decision, I think there's 2 types of decisions. There's reversible, irreversible. If it's reversible, which means I can change my mind, I can double back, I can correct, pivot. After I've made that decision, I make that quickly. Because me finding out what happens and changing is a lot quicker than me keep reading and trying to figure out what's the best decision. If it is irreversible, which means I cannot change it, then I will take my time a little bit more. But if it's not, then I'm making it straight away and I'm going to fuck around and find out. Another one is how I see learning. If you operationalize learning, I see learning as same condition, new behavior. I'll give you guys an example. I feel like some of you guys might know where this is from. If I give you a phone and I say when it rings, pick up and say ABC, and you guys say ABC, okay, good. If I tell you now, instead of saying ABC, say XYZ, and you say XYZ, then you have learned. Why? Because it's the same condition and a new behavior. Intelligence is rate of learning. How many times you need to be exposed to that same condition to exert a new behavior. If I tell you to say XYZ and it takes you 3 times to take XYZ, whereas the other guy took him 1 time to say XYZ, he is more intelligent than you. So when I consume information now, it needs to be an information that I can learn from, which means I can be in the same condition and exert a new behavior. If the information I learn is not applicable to that, which means I can't apply that, or I can't encounter a same condition that maybe the video was referring to or the video was trying to teach, if the video was teaching anything, and I can't exert a new behavior, it's useless. I'm just consuming. It won't move me forward. The real world rewards you for progress, and school only rewards you for certainty and correctness. Number 3, debt and risk are bad. I used to think risk was reckless and debt was failure. So for safety, I would avoid risk, which seems responsible until you realize what it actually does to your life. And this showed up by me staying small, trying to stay small, preferring comfort over growth, and not taking opportunities that would give me more responsibility. And what cracked this for me is I realized everything has risk. You can't avoid risk, right? It's not about avoiding risk. It's about choosing your risk. Companies don't avoid risk. They have teams dedicated to manage their risk, to calculate their risk. Think insurance with actuaries and loans with underwriters. Their job is to calculate risk. Even doing nothing is risk. You know, it's quiet, it's slow, but you only feel the downsides later on in life. Everything has a risk. Going out has a risk. Sleeping has a risk. I might not wake up. Eating food has a risk. I might choke. So I changed this belief with everything has a risk. Choose your risk. Debt is leverage, and leverage is a tool. And I'm not saying leverage is magic, right? Leverage can hurt you if you don't respect it. But if you look around, like student loan is debt. It's a socially accepted debt that people use to get education. Mortgage is a debt. It allows you to own property whilst paying a small deposit. And people use debt all the time to buy cars, jewelry, phones, handbags. So my contrast is, if I'm going to use leverage, I would rather buy an asset. I buy businesses with debt, with leverage, whatever you want to call it. So avoiding risk can ruin you slowly. I embrace risk. I love it. But I downsize my risk. I protect myself from risk. I don't avoid it, but I downsize it. And if I had to think of a belief that had the biggest impact over my life, it will be this one, a bonus one, because you stayed this long. Belief number 4, I can't change. This is just who I am. I used to believe my identity was fixed. Who I am is who I am. And that belief had so many limitations. So many limitations. So much so that the other 3 beliefs couldn't be changed. Any belief you have can't be changed if you think you can't change. I wouldn't train confidence because that's not my personality. I wouldn't train discipline because I'm just not that guy. I excused my habits as my identity. And what cracked it for me is that I realized something that might sound stupidly simple, but it hit hard. And I think some of you guys need to hear it. Personalities aren't prisons. They're just patterns. Who we are the behaviors we repeat on a daily basis. If I look at the bus driver, I'm not calling him a bus driver because I says he's a bus driver. I believe he's a bus driver because when he wakes up in the morning and goes to work, he drives a bus. Plain and simply, if he didn't drive a bus, I wouldn't call him a bus driver, right? If I see a student gamer, I'm not going to call him a student gamer because I think he's a student gamer. It looks like a student gamer. No. What are the behaviors he repeats every day? He goes to uni every day, he studies every day, and he games every day. You know, it's as simple as that. You are the behaviors you repeat. A pattern, any pattern, can be changed with reps. So I replaced that belief with I am not the finished product, right? This isn't the finished Yemi. I am trainable, moldable, and changeable. I'm constantly evolving over time. And change is a skill. It's a muscle. And you have to keep using the muscle or it atrophies away. Think of our ear muscles. Everyone's born with ear muscles, very capable ear muscles. But if we don't use them, exercise them, move our ears about, they atrophy away. And I can't move mine. So once you believe you can change, you can build the skill. You can learn discipline, confidence. You can be that guy, whoever that guy that you want to be or gal, whoever that guy or gal you want to be, you can be that person if you believe you can change. And it all starts with here. What you tell yourself. If I wake up in the morning, tired as hell, only on 4 hours of sleep, when I wake up, and I tell myself, I'm so tired, I'm gonna feel tired. If I wake up and I'm like, I'm ready, I'm awake, I'm active, you will feel ecstatic. Our body listens to what we tell ourselves like the gospel. That's why affirmations are so powerful. People think you're just saying it, but if you mean it, your body hears it and your body believes it with time. If I go on a presentation or you have a football match or wherever I have or you have, and we tell ourselves, I'm so nervous, I'm so scared, you're gonna feel nervous and scared coming in. But if you tell yourself, woo, I'm ready, I'm excited, let's go. You will feel ready and excited. It's just this funny thing with how our body works. So who I am is not the facts. It's just habits. It's just the patterns. It's just what I do on a daily basis. That makes me who I am. So my life changed when I stopped seeing my beliefs as facts and saw them as operating code. It's my operating system. And if you don't update your operating system, especially when the world changes, you're going to be left behind, especially if you're running the wrong code in your brain. If I go around thinking, everyone who's rich was born rich, will I ever be rich in a million years? No, of course not. So you have to update your system. I'm constantly updating mine so my beliefs are as accurate as possible. So there have been my build notes. I look forward to seeing you guys next Wednesday. My vlog's coming out on Sunday, this Sunday as well. I don't know how that's gonna happen because we got the acquisition on the 22nd. Most likely, I will record up until Saturday, have it edited and scheduled for you guys on Sunday. And then what happens from Sunday onwards will go on the following week. So I can't wait. And I know you guys can't wait. And I cannot wait to share it with you guys. So see you guys very soon and keep going.